walk through the cold, brisk night of Old Town Auburn. You see the fall leaves blowing in the wind and down the streets. You hear the sound of chatter as conversations ring out the doors and into your ears. The local shops, galleries, and restaurants welcome you in as if you are family. You'll see visitors pause to take photos with the 19th century model buildings, all surrounded by the historic Auburn courthouse, where it sits still and quiet. It's a beautiful fall night here in Auburn. Almost impossible to think this place could be anything but an old, quiet town in the foothills, where people gather to make memories with their loved ones. But when you have such an historic town with so much to offer, you'll discover that some of that history isn't always charming and bright. Instead, some things you may come across may be in the realm of disturbing and unsettling. And soon you'll realize maybe this town, as you've come to know it, is still a home for the ones who lived here before us.
This is a spooky haunted ghost tour in one of the most haunted areas in Auburn. Everything you're hearing tonight is real, it's accurate, it happened, real stuff. Auburn was the wild, wild west back in the day. So, friends and family that are here, guests of Auburn, natives of Auburn, we appreciate you being here. We want you to learn. This is amazing. You guys are gonna have the best time, and I'm so glad that you're here with us tonight to celebrate the final act for 2022 for the Ghost Tour. Have fun and be safe.
Good evening. My name is Sheriff John Boggs, and I was a lawman in this town for over 30 years. So I would just like to say, welcome to my town. I was born in 1825 in a little town called Newcastle, Pennsylvania. And by 1849, as a young man of 24, I decided it was time to go west. So I did, by ship, all the way around the Horn. And by September of 1849, well, we finally managed to make it to the good old port of San Francisco. And by the end of that September, well, I found myself right here in good old Woods Dry Diggings. Of course, 1849, that was also the same year that the town was renamed to Auburn.
Only thing you could do to rub two pennies together was menial tasks for existing claim holders. My brother got tired of that right quick. He went back to Oregon. I, for my part, was much more stubborn. I was determined to get what I had come for. And it was that tenacity that earned me the nickname by which many of you know me, Rattlesnake Dick. Well, on July 11th, 1859, word got out that I was back in town, and I was ambushed by a posse of law dogs. up on Lincoln Way by where that firehouse now sits. I took one of them out. I could have sworn it was Boggs himself. But I also took 2 bullets in the fracas. I managed to escape, but in my condition, I couldn't get far. And they found my body the next day up by the junction at the top of Lincoln Way, which is right by where Rayleigh's now sits. But don't go thinking for a second that I died by any lawman's hands. Oh no. Because before I turned colder than a wagon wheel, I wrote the note that they found in my pocket. Before I took my own gun and turned it on myself to finish the job.
It went cold and numb, and I could see my arm in my hand. And my family, they couldn't see or hear me anymore. But I could still see and hear them. Then just 2 years later, my sweet husband Thomas went to use our outhouse before going to open up our shop one morning, and I ain't seen him since. Then the judge from the courthouse came down, and he took my sweet little Thomas Jr. Surely they're coming back, right? And I know my daughters are grown and married off, but you would think that they could come visit their own mama from time to time. Well, over the years since my sweet Thomas has been gone, my once beautiful home grew old and in need of repair. And it was eventually torn down in 1965, as if no one saw me still living here. One afternoon, a gentleman shopkeeper was working, and he said a beautiful lady in black walked right through that door you all walked in tonight. He called out to see how he could be of assistance, but I didn't respond. As he came around the counter to see how he could help me, I vanished right into that beautiful fireplace.
Couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my skirt, I threw it up over my head, and I rushed into that blazing inferno. And moments later, I came out with the first of the firemen I was to save that day. But there were more men inside. I returned to that burning hell 3 more times until all the men were out safe. Finally, on my last trip out, I collapsed in the doorway. Well, then it was safe and easy to help, so some of those onlookers, they came and they carried me away. And they saw that, they must have heard that my lungs were burning, my hair, my long, beautiful black hair, replaced by a scorched and blistered scalp. The last part to my story that I need you to hear is that when I died, a casket was commissioned at the Stafford Mortuary just up here on Commercial Street. I think it is a tattoo shop now. And a grave was dug, but both remained empty. For Dr. Todd had possession of my body, and no one knows what happened to it after that. It's been a mystery all these years. So if you learn in your travels tonight what happened to my earthly body, I sure would appreciate the knowledge. See, without a proper burial, I'm doomed to wander the streets of Auburn.
Well, good evening, folks. You all know that lots of people have died right here on this parcel of land, including me. And we was buried along with the town folk right underneath your feet. You're standing on the old graveyard. I remember it. Yeah, the gallows was right over there. And the jail, that was right down the hill there. That's where I spent 5 months before they hanged me for the murder of that yellow-bellied coward, Andrew King. Y'all be careful, because men like me, we wouldn't take two thoughts about shooting you, stealing your horses and your loot, and we're real good at hiding the bodies. Y'all have a good night.
Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Oh, I need somebody to help me. Well, I'm Maggie Cohen. Have you ever heard of me? Of course not. 'Twas me husband who was well known in these parts. Leroy Cohen. Me family came from Ireland, searching for gold. We lived in the biggest town in Placer County. Not Auburn, Ophir. When this courthouse first opened in 1897, my husband became the first jailer. And you are in the original jail room where hundreds of murderous thieves were kept. And their ghosts still wander. I see them. Saw Joe, you'd know why. He was the handsomest man in town. He made so many promises to me. We became engaged to be married. And then he threw me down and broke off the engagement, breaking my heart. I don't know how he could do this to me. Oh, what's a girl to do? I shot him dead with his own gun. Oh, my sweet Mother Mary, may she rest in peace. She taught me to always be prepared. So when I went to see Joe that night, I was prepared. I killed him because I thought it was the right thing to do. I loved Joe with all my heart, but I'm not sorry I killed him.
And that is when I make big mistake. I did hire Alma Bell to work in my household. She come to us and she bring so much grief to me and my 8 children. How can we even bear? I don't know. She come and then not long after, she take up with my boy Joey. She take up with my darling Joey. But let me be so clear to you all. Joey and Alma, they were never engaged. No, never. Alma, she was engaged, yeah. Yes, many times. Just not to my boy, no. Before Joey was murdered, he brought home little stray cat. He named it Little Kitty. Oh, Little Kitty so sweet, but when Joey not come home no more, then Little Kitty die of broken heart. We bury Little Kitty on ranch. But then, big surprise for me, good surprise, Little Kitty come back to me. Look, she is back to me. And she keeping me company now, she's so sweet. Would you like her to pet Little Kitty?
I was fixing to warm up. Not surprising, I dozed off. Dad! walked in the back door. A man packing a hatchet, well, he struck me in the head. Now, his first 2 chops were kind of feeble, but the third one, it severed my spinal cord. It pert near took off my head. Well, he took a key out of my pocket, lit a candle, went in the back room and opened the safe. He stole several $100s, a gold watch, and a pin. My dear wife, she came to the back door right then to call me to supper. She saw a grim Chinaman drop a candle and run out the front door. When she saw the safe door open, she knew something was wrong. It was my poor Mary. Found my grisly, bloodied body. Assassinated.
When the firemen arrived, there was not much they could do to quell the fire. It was out of control, but it was mainly in the back of the house. So they went into the front to see if maybe there was anyone they could help. And that's when they found the first body. Her eyes were gone. Her ears and hair burned away. Both of her arms were charred to nothing but stumps. Desperately, I searched for anyone else. And that's when I found my baby brother, Chester. He was only 9 years old. And when I found him, he was still breathing. I quickly picked him up into my arms. I carried him out of the house as he coughed and coughed and coughed and coughed and... My life is so painful that I long for death. Nothing with which I am connected to prospers. Nothing gives me the satisfaction. Mankind is of 2 parts, body and soul. Man owns the former and God the latter. We are but the instruments to do the will of our Creator, and He seems to have no place for me. Thank you.